Oh boy, with a direct from Nintendo and a state of play from Sony in the same day, I've started to wonder myself, will the big showcases ever return? Remember those days? I'm not just talking E3, but I'm talking about even when the Giants split from that and they had their own state of plays and showcases and directs showing off for like over an hour. Do you remember those days? I mean, heck, everyone talks about the Sony showcase from 2021. I think it was 2021. When they got to show off things like Wolverine and Spider-Man back when we didn't know anything about Spider-Man 2, showing off third-party games, other first-party games that were off in the distance or just about to release and everything. Everyone always claims, man, what a day to be a gamer, especially if you're a PlayStation fan. But we haven't really gotten that, at least in my personal opinion, and also a lot of opinions on the internet. Everyone's always just like, you know what? Keep your expectations low. And then who knows, maybe you might see a couple of interesting bits in there. But overall, we haven't really seen this. And a lot of people are calling to go back to those old days of the big showcases or the big events and everything where there was only once a year. But I don't know if that's technically the answer either. I mean, you have to look at it this way. Do we go back to having only one showcase a year where we get all of the big information and then we hear nothing but silence? Or do we get more communication technically where we get more of these state of plays in smaller directs? I don't know what the right answer is, so I want to know what your thoughts are down below. And after we've gone through this entire state of play real quick, going over the highlights, the highs and the lows, I'm going to answer that question at the end of the video. Which do you think is better, a big state of play or a few small ones? Let me know your thoughts down below. What's going on, everyone? Tallen here with Direct Gaming. We got a lot to cover. If you enjoyed today's video, a like and a comment would help us out a ton. Also, ring that notification bell to keep up to date on everything gaming. If you sub as well, it's free and always helps us out. All right, on to the state of play. All right, let's start off with the big one that just lit the internet on fire. Everyone is hoping for. Everyone's already pre-ordering everything. I'm, of course, talking about Baby Steps. Man, what a highlight. That is the greatest game ever. It's game of the year right there, right there. It's not even a competition. What? Okay, look. Memes aside, this video game unfortunately is getting a little bit meme to death as it is, and I don't know if that was on purpose, the way that the trailer was made from the developers and everything. I kind of hope it is, just because it can be like, yeah, no, we're dead serious about this, guys. We know it maybe just be a small indie game and everything like that, but yeah, this is what we're going for, which, hey, by all means, it's their game. They have the creative ways to make something like this. I could never do something like it, but a lot of people don't think it was the greatest way to start off a state of play, so I don't know. It is what it is. We'll have to see if that actually is going to work, you know, in their favor going forward. But was this a smart way to open up the state of play? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. But I want to start with honestly, the biggest surprise for me personally, and that was seeing Spider-Man 2 of all games, because before this was even starting, Sony announced like this is indie and third party only, and last I checked, Spider-Man 2 is first party. So I don't know if maybe they thought they didn't have enough and they needed to throw Spider-Man in as kind of like a secret marketing tactic, because it's about a month till the game releases, technically a month and 5 days. But regardless, is this kind of like the start of their marketing and everything like that? I'm expecting to see some big posters here in Tokyo personally, but we'll have to wait and find out. But anyway, let's get into some of the extra details of Spider-Man 2, because while they obviously didn't reveal anything about the story and everything, they're going to keep that pretty tight-lipped, which is all cool. I'm all for that. You want to keep that story, you know, you want to experience that yourself firsthand. They showed us some extra details that I myself was actually personally looking forward to, because, well, if you just go play the PS4 version / the upgraded PS5 version and the Miles, you know, game, you know what you're in for already. The Spider-Man game, there's nothing to it basically. But it was nice to see all these extra little details. It just kind of got me more, I wouldn't say hyped per se, just simply like, yeah, I'm super excited for this. I mean, I was buying this game day one regardless and gonna stream it, play it, guides, review, the whole 9 yards. But it's just nice to see this information. It's always kind of cool, right? Again, it's kind of like drip feeding. It just kind of shows you right there in the front and everything. But anyway, let's take a look at what they showed us real quick in terms of all this stuff. The first thing that they actually showed off was just the open world itself, and it's actually twice the size of the first game. Like, they're just like, hey, here's the first area you had in the first game. Oh yeah, by the way, boom, the entire second island here. It's like, oh, all right, yeah, that's a good size. Yeah, okay. Now, obviously, I know that bigger is not always better.
That's what she said.
But, you know, hey, I trust Insomniac. You know, for the most part, they've done good stuff in all the years that they've made games. So if this is a flop, then yeah, we'll call them out on it. But I'm more inclined to actually believe them. So again, bigger isn't always better, but we'll have to see if they've maybe taken the criticism from the first game in terms of maybe some of the side missions or how you interact with some of the main missions, or making some of those side missions as good as the main story itself. We obviously know Kraven's in it, we know Venom's there and everything like that. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what's going to happen. But again, I'm excited, and there's supposed to be some more like preview stuff that's coming out later today, actually, by the time you guys are seeing this video, and we'll have to wait and see what everyone's saying. I'm assuming it's mostly gonna be positive. I mean, especially because Sony invites people that they know will, for the most part, keep things positive. But at the same time, when it comes to some of their first party games, Sony's pretty good at being like, you know what? Yeah, we're confident. Here, check it out, like a month in advance. They did the same thing with God of War Ragnarok. Like, they allowed those reviews and everything to go out almost 2 weeks before the game came out, because like, yeah, we got this in terms of the first party stuff. So the live service and third party stuff, we'll get into that in a bit. But overall, the first party stuff, yeah, Spider-Man's looking pretty good. Another thing they showed off was the fact that you're going to be able to switch between Miles and Peter like that. Like, it's very instant. Now, they're always toting about the power of SSDs and everything like that, which if you're a PC player and everything, you're like, yeah, we've had SSDs in our systems for years and years. So obviously, I know the SSD helps with that, but don't think that the PlayStation SSD is like the magical SSD of magical SSDs or something like that. It's an SSD. It helps with all this stuff, which is great. But yeah, like, we've had SSDs for a long time. So regardless, though, it's definitely really cool to see that it can be switched automatically and everything like that. I did like seeing Peter doing his crunches and everything, and he does the backflip on the side of the building and he just takes off. That was pretty cool. I definitely like that. So but regardless, that's obviously a really cool feature. Not to mention the fact that I don't know if this is feedback from when they had their pre-order, you know, kind of backlash and everything in terms of certain costumes only being available through the pre-order. I believe there's around 5 or so, maybe 6. I'm not 100% sure. Or maybe if they just said, nope, we're not doing that anymore, and this is, you know, you just get these automatically now. But there are over 65 different costumes and outfits that you can get. And then I guess you can mix and match them somehow, which is giving us over 200 variations. And now, the reason I actually like this, it's not because like, oh my God, you know, so many costumes and everything, even though I already kind of know what costumes I will use unless there's a big surprise for me. But the fact that this kind of harkens back to the days where we don't have to buy the costumes from the shop. You unlock them from playing. It's called progression. Thank you, Insomniac. My God. Again, I know, obviously, I don't know if this is backlash from when they were saying the pre-orders only get you like these 5 costumes or whatever, and you cannot unlock them. Like, they confirmed that for a point. I don't know if this is doubling back on that or anything. I'm not really sure. But regardless, 65 outfits, that's pretty nice right there to unlock at your convenience. I like that. More games do it. I'm tired of paying for cosmetics. I barely buy cosmetics as it is. But regardless, that's really nice to see. Another thing that they also showed off was just simply how fast the new fast travel system is, where it just simply is, hey, you're on the map, you select fast travel, and next thing you know, you are in that location and you're already gliding on your web wings, which is pretty cool. And just to mention that traversal looks a lot faster than usual, than at least compared to the first game. So I don't know if that's good or if that's bad. Some people were saying that the traversal was a little slow in the first game. I personally had no problems with it because I just loved swinging around the city. There were obviously some downtime and just some parts where I was like, okay, maybe pick it up a bit here. So I don't know if this is fast enough. If it's too fast, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Obviously, none of us have really played it, but we'll have to wait and see. And then just extra little bits was things like the AR goggles and the suit and everything like that, showing off locations, missions, and more. And yeah, now I know some people are going to say, well, there's nothing new seen here. And you're technically correct, but again, this is all marketing for them now. I mean, Spider-Man's gonna sell on its own regardless. Like, no one can deny that, right? But it was definitely really cool to see this. And again, if you wish to try this out, we've made shorts on this and everything on our channel. Just go buy the first game along with the Miles game. Like, you can get that combo together on PlayStation 5, or heck, just go play them on PS4 if you don't have a 5 yet. Like, you can find them between like 20 to 30 bucks for both games combined. Like, that's a steal right there. They are amazing games. They got tons of awards and everything, tons of great reviews. Go check it out. Like, there's no point. There's not gonna be a demo. They don't need to. Again, just go buy the first game and boom, you're good to go. Moving on to some of the third-party games, though, we got a decent amount to cover here. Again, we talked about baby steps and everything. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. But the first thing that they showed off was a few of the VR games like Ghostbusters and Resident Evil. If you're into VR, then great. I'll leave a link down below. You can go and check them out more. I'm personally not really into the VR thing, especially because, well, I live in a Japanese apartment and not really enough room to really do that kind of stuff. So I don't know, not really my cup of tea. Plus, it's super expensive just to get the goggles in the first place. So we're not going to linger on that much. Moving on. One thing that I was very interested in, though, was the DLC for Resident Evil 4 Remake. Separate Ways is the name of the DLC, and it's looking to be more of just what made Resident Evil 4 great, right? I mean, the reviews speak for themselves, not to mention Capcom has been on a roll the last few years, so I can't really see this being anything less than a 7, unless the price is like high and the DLC is only like maybe 2 hours or something like that. Then yeah, that could definitely make it lower. And before anyone goes into 7, how dare you give it a 7? 7's actually a good score for games, at least in my opinion, you know? Whatever, you know, everyone's got their own grading system and everything like that, but regardless, I picture this to be pretty good, and the DLC releases next week, so hey, you get your chance to try it out very, very soon. One game I'm still a little confused on, though, however, is the Avatar Founders of Pandora. I know they've released details about this game and everything like that, at least little bits here and there, but still looking a little rough, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, graphics-wise, again, I know graphics don't make the game, but it's still looking a little rough, not gonna lie. I mean, this game's been in development for how long, essentially? And it's supposed to be out on the current gen and PC systems. I'm assuming it's also gonna be on the previous gen, but I could be wrong on that. But regardless, flying definitely looks fun, but I'm not sure if it will hold up after whatever initial mission it's gonna be part of, where you get to try it out, and then it's just like, oh yeah, that's about it, right? It's like, okay, it is what it is, I guess. Also, the switching between going from third person when you're exploring, but then you go into first person for the action parts of it. I mean, they had everything from machine guns, rockets, bow and arrows, and more. So I hope the gameplay loop is good. Is this going to hit like the movies, or is it going to flop harder than PlayStation Plus's price hikes? We'll have to wait and see, but it won't be very long because this game releases on December 2023. So let me know what your thoughts on this are. Now, one game I am extremely excited to try out, because there's also a demo for it, which releases today actually, is Ghost Runner 2. Now, if you never got to play the first one, I highly recommend it. You can find it on sale for the full game, especially on Steam if you happen to be over there as well. Or again, try out the demo, see what your thoughts are. It's actually available today, like I say before, and the full game will release on October 26th. There's not much I can really say on this. It's more Ghost Runner. Go try it out. It's actually a very fun game. It's a first-person, you know, wall running. It's almost like Mirror's Edge, but better, in my personal opinion. You know, maybe they took what was good from that game, from the first one. Regardless, I'm not really sure, but it's a fun game regardless. At least the first one was. Try out number 2 here. Free demo, obviously. I just hope that it's not swallowed up in all the craziness that is October, because there's a lot of releases in October. I mean, Spider-Man for one is one of them. So I'm really hoping Ghost Runner is not. Again, hopefully the demo helps it out. Just kind of wish it was maybe going towards a November release date, just saying. But regardless, I hope it does well. I'm definitely going to try it out. It's just going to have to wait until after Spider-Man and Mario Wonder, unfortunately. So definitely gonna try it out though. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now, the State of Play also showed off all of the color covers and everything like that. I'm personally gonna skip over that because I don't give two craps about that. So if you're into that, great. I'm personally not though. We're gonna move on to the next section. The next reveal is probably what has me the most worried, and that was the official start of Sony showing off its live service games. Now, they have talked about their live service games, and the last showcase slash State of Play that they had showed off a decent amount of those CG trailers and everything. But this is the first one we got to see gameplay of. Helldivers 2 showed off some gameplay with its co-op online. At least I'm assuming it's online. We actually got to hear 4 people talking while playing the game. Now, obviously, we don't know how big of a gamer these people are, but we're assuming that they're the developers of the game, so they know how it works and everything. Those things always sound a little cringy, though. You know, they're like, oh, don't do this and everything like that. And it's like, I don't think you're really talking that much in these types of games, unless it's like maybe the hardest difficulty of something like that. As someone who plays a lot of games in terms of something like Destiny, when it comes to co-op and doing Grandmasters and all that stuff, I don't think you're going to be talking that much in your more typical general mission. This game worries me though, just because we know how much money Sony is throwing into their live service games. Like I stated many times in this channel, players have limited time when it comes to playing live service games. Will this one be able to stand out? Only time will tell. This will 100% though have microtransactions, and with Bungie helping them, most likely at least parts of it, with Bungie helping them with this game most likely, and at least in terms of monetization and how a live service works, they're gonna be expensive. So you've got to have either the console, you've got to have PlayStation Plus if you're on PlayStation. This also does release on PC, but if you're on console, which is probably what they're hoping for, you've got to pay for that now in terms of the online. Then you're going to potentially be tricked into buying, you know, cosmetics and everything, or even guns and everything like that, because they even showed off all this customization. And I'm like, if this is a live service game, no way all that is available to, you know, grind out and everything, which I really wish it was. But until they've proven me wrong, and with Bungie being there, I don't have much hopes. So, but the game releases in February 2024 on both PS5 and PC. Is it going to succeed? Who knows? Again, still worried. As if this year did not have enough RPGs, we got to see Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn, which was shown off. Not much was really shown. It was actually kind of a short trailer, but it's releasing this year, November 9th. So if you're into the RPG scene, and you're eating good this year. I mean, you've had a lot of games, so hopefully you've been able to finish Baldur's Gate 3 before this game releases. I mean, that's a long game in itself. So you got till November 9th if you're into this kind of stuff. Get to it. Also shown off was Honkai Star Rail. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on it. Moving on. Okay, down to the last two. We got Foam Stars. Now, this has literally been labeled the moment it was announced to just be Splatoon in HD. And yeah, it kind of is. I mean, our own Lethal actually got to go try it out at PAX and said it was surprisingly fun, actually. And if you don't believe him, that's fine. You got a beta coming up, actually. It looks like Square has actually somewhat learned from Final Fantasy 16. I can't talk about their other stuff. Check that video up in the top right corner if you want to. We literally just covered all this. But having an open beta is a nice thing to have, especially because this game is not looking to release until early 2024. Now, the only downside to it, I would say, in terms of this beta, is that it's only from September 29th till October 1st, which I know is normal sometimes for betas to only be during the weekend. So I hope that they have another one sometime later in the year, maybe like in December or something like that, or maybe in January, or, you know, work it in together with Final Fantasy Rebirth or something like that, in terms of like, hey, you know, you get an extra free weekend or something like, I don't know, something like that I think would be helpful for them to really show it off. There's gonna be 8 characters to play through and a few maps to try out as well. Is it going to be successful? We'll have to wait and see, but it's not very long. And again, we've got basically into early 2024, which is basically between January to about March, give or take. So if this does work out for them, maybe this is the live service game that Square has been hoping for that can kind of, you know, keep them afloat in terms of getting that extra cash and everything like that. But at the same time, and this is a big but, make sure that they still focus on the good games, aka things like Final Fantasy, The World Ends With You, their RPGs, all that stuff. Don't let this go to your head, Square, especially what happened recently. Don't let it happen. All right, final big moment of the showcase, though, has to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, aka Remake Part 2. This is actually looking really good. Now, I love the first game in terms of the first remake, and a lot of people did as well. Sold really well always, and I'm super excited for this one. It actually got a release date, February 29th, 2024. It's at the end of what everyone considers to be the crazy month that is February. I personally like it though, because that is the end of the school year here in Japan, and I will be finishing up my math test and my English test for my students, and I'm gonna be like, hell yeah, let's go. Full month off in March. Gotta play this game. It's gonna be awesome. Now, here's some extra details that we get to see. It's kind of similar to Spider-Man, where it's like, yeah, we already know this is gonna be a good game. We know, you know, the general idea of what it is, especially if you've played the original, right? You obviously know everything that's gonna be in here, but it's really cool to just kind of see this all in like HD and blown up and everything, and just the detail and everything is really cool. First off, we get to see more of Red 13. He's obviously playable. We saw that in the first trailer and everything, but we got to see this kind of like cool revenge gauge looking mechanic for him. Definitely looking really cool. I'm excited to see how he plays and everything. We got to see more combo attacks with party members like Barrett and Yuffie working together, or Aerith and Cade Sith. Yeah, Cade Sith is here as well. Again, you played the original, you know this already, but it's just cool to see them here, especially due to the limited party that we had from the first remake. So that's obviously really cool to see and everything like that. A big surprise for me personally was seeing that Sephiroth is going to be playable, which has now been confirmed though to only be in the Nibelheim flashback sections, but still, we get to play as them, right? It makes a little sense, obviously, if you've seen the first trailer where you see Cloud and Sephiroth walking, and we all assume that they were going to Nibelheim and there's some kind of flashback, but Cloud will be the one that you traverse the world, but the moment you start gameplay, like in terms of the battle system, yeah, Sephiroth playable. That's pretty cool. We'll have to see how in depth they go in terms of movesets and everything like that. Maybe they'll be like, hey, after you've beaten the game, you can add him as a party member or something like that. Hard to say if it's going to work out, but definitely excited to see it and at least try those bits out here and there. They obviously showed off some other cool boss fights. We got to see even Odin as a summon, you know, from Final Fantasy 16 that we just fought and everything. Obviously not his first appearance in a game or anything like that, but it was still cool to see him, especially after you fighting him in Final Fantasy 16. There's also a ton of other mini games, new locations, at least in terms of from the first remake, and also a few surprises, including to see our boy Zack. Let's go. We still basically know nothing about the whole timeline and his part of the game and anything like that, but just to see him here, man, I was all for it. Probably got to do something about that big cannon. It can't be too much trouble, can it? The final bit we also got to see, though, was we got to see Vincent. Yes, Vincent Valentine. Again, he's been in the original game and everything like that, but we get to see him here in his full HD glory and everything like that. The only question I have, though, is he going to be playable in this game, or is it going to be more towards the end of the Rebirth game, and it's going to be more like what Red 13 was in Remake Part 1, where you see him, he's around, he helps you with these little quick time events and everything, but you don't actually get to use them in your party until whatever the third game is going to be called and everything like that. Hard to say. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think Vincent will be playable, or do you think it's going to be another Red 13 scenario there? I don't know. We don't have long to wait, though. February 29th, like I said before, 2024. One little thing I've noticed, though, and a lot of people also caught this as well, is that the exclusivity for this game on PlayStation is only until May 29th, 2024. That's 3 months. So the assumption, obviously, is that it's going to go to PC, because the first game's on PC. And a lot of people are speculating that at TGS, this upcoming next week, at the time of this recording, is going to have Xbox announce that the first remake is going to the Xbox console finally. It's been like 3+ years or so. So will that happen? Who's to say? Hopefully, it'd be nice for everyone to be able to play this game, obviously, have everyone on Xbox and everything. I don't think it's going to Game Pass, though. As we know, usually Square does not like Game Pass because that's a lot of lost revenue. So Xbox players, this is your chance. Prove that you want to have more of these Japanese games on your system and buy these games. Because if you don't, that's less incentive for these developers and publishers to put these games onto your system. Just do it. Like, I know money can be tight sometimes. Wait for a sale. That's totally fine. But don't be like, oh, it's not a Game Pass, I'm not going to buy it. This is your chance. Show them you want more of their games on your platform. I mean, honestly, in my personal opinion, just buy PC and you can play everything. But regardless, I know not everyone can do that. So this is your chance, though. Hopefully it happens. I'm really hoping Xbox can get the first game, aka remake. You guys just got Final Fantasy 14. It should be releasing soon. Really hoping that you guys get remake. I really hope you do. But buy the games. Buy them. That shows that you're going to support them. That's the best way to do it. Well, there we go. The latest state of play from Sony. Was it good? Was it bad? Only you can answer that. But going back to my original question that I posed at the beginning of the video, multiple state of plays or one big showcase? I think as much as I love having a big showcase to get all super hyped up and everything like that, I think I prefer the state of plays. And again, don't get me wrong, showcases 100% get us more hyped and everything. But going back to a time where we only get a little bit of information once a year, I don't know if I would like that in the current 2023 days that we are in right now. That's why I've always said, keep your expectations low for these showcases. And when you watch them, you might get a couple of surprises here and there, which is really cool. But it's mostly updates, right? Which, again, I think I personally prefer, right? You get an occasional update here. Maybe one state of play doesn't touch on something you were hoping to be there, but it will be in the next one. Or, you know, basically the way it's working out is that these state of plays are mostly covering games that are going to be releasing within the next 6 to 12 months, basically, right? The showcases were the big, like, hey, we got a few years until this game comes out, but they're not really doing that anymore, it seems. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what's going to happen. Again, the one thing that does worry me is that Sony is still going a little too hard into the whole live service area, but I mean, they bought Bungie for a reason, so we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. Overall, I personally would rank this showcase a 7 out of 10 if I had to give it a grade. only due to the fact that there was more Spider-Man information and we got to see Rebirth. But I was already planning on getting those games. That's the thing. So if those two weren't here, this thing would have been like a 4 out of 10 for me personally. But now I want to know your personal thoughts down below in the comments. Did you enjoy this? Was it a meh? What are you most excited to try out? And what games are you looking forward to playing? Or you're not looking forward to anything? We like reading all your comments down below. We can't wait to check them out. If you enjoyed this breakdown / discussion, then a like on the video would be greatly appreciated. It's free and allows us to make more of these videos. I've been Tallen with Direct Gaming. Thank you so much for everyone that stopped by the video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we can't wait to see you in the next one. Johnny.